The haunting mystery of the off-grid family who disappeared in 1996. Shocking truth revealed. In the shadows of the dense Oregon woods, a riddle lay unsolved for over 2 decades. The Andersons, a seemingly ordinary family, vanished without a trace in 1996, leaving behind only whispers and wild speculation. How could a dedicated father, a loving mother, and their 2 bright children simply disappear? What dark secret lurked in the heart of that silent forest, nestled within the towering pines? Friends searched for answers and the town was buzzing with dreadful curiosity, a deafening silence where laughter once rang. Days turned into weeks as investigators combed through underbrush, their flashlights flickering against the trees. They stumbled upon odd items, a child's left shoe with dirt caked on it, a family photo, untouched yet eerily weathered. Each fragment unearthed heightened the questions: what happened on that fateful evening? The bizarre whispers echoed: did they find a hidden treasure? Was there a secret life? People gathered in hushed circles on porches, eyes wide and hearts racing, piecing together the legend of the family that fell through the cracks of time. Could it be that they were not gone at all, but hiding from something far worse? As time wore on, their backyard sat empty, the swing swaying in the wind like an unforgotten memory. Then, strange happenings began. Reports flooded in about shadowy figures seen flitting between trees at night, the occasional eerie laughter ringing out under the moonlight. Locals doubted their sanity. It couldn't be that the Andersons were still out there, could it? What drove a family to exile themselves so completely? The conspiracy theories were a tangled bed of intrigue and dread. Some claimed they had become a part of a sinister cult, others whispered about an alien encounter. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Yet, amidst the unsettling chatter and flickering shadows, one day, out of nowhere, a note appeared on the doorstep of the town hall. It was yellowed and crumpled, written in a frantic scrawl: "We're alive. But don't seek us, I beg you." The breath caught in everyone's throats. Suspense tingled in the air as the clock ticked, each second echoing louder than before. Who had sent the message? And, more chilling, why the desperate plea not to be found? As the town sat on the edge of their seats, staring into the abyss of uncertainty, the question hung there: what fate truly awaited the Andersons in the dark embrace of those haunting woods? The town was shaken, whispers slicing through the air like an icy wind. The note's message twisted in everyone's minds, each person grappling with its implications. "We're alive. But don't seek us." It felt like a ghostly echo, ricocheting off the walls of the town hall, turning friendly conversations into hushed debates about desperation and dread. Lucy, the town librarian, felt a knot in her stomach. She'd known the Andersons well, weekends spent with coffee and laughter over hot pies. She couldn't believe they were alive, hiding away like quartz crystals embedded in the earth, precious yet hidden. She found herself haunted by memories and filled with dread. What could compel a whole family to forsake everything they loved? As the days crawled by, that nagging fear morphed into a collective obsession. The elderly gathered outside Bob's diner, murmuring theories sharper than the steak knives. They must be seen something they couldn't unsee, a voice cracked, drawing nods of agreement. Or maybe they were running from something. The words hung heavy, casting shadows on already dark hearts. Amidst it all, the forest loomed. Friends of the Andersons rallied, gathered supplies, and decided that it was time to search again. Flashlights in hand, they ventured into the woods, the night air thick with tension. Fear clenched at their hearts, but courage pushed them deeper into the unknown. Each step felt like a deafening drumbeat. Branches cracked underfoot, echoing through the trees like the cries of the lost. They called out names, voices rising and falling in the stillness. Maggie. Lucas. Silence rippled back, chilling them to the bone. It was as if the forest itself held its breath, eagerly awaiting their fate. Then, a piercing scream shattered the quiet. It came from Dave, the town's rugged mechanic. He emerged from the bushes, face pale, eyes wide. "I saw them. I swear, I saw them." His words sent a ripple of shock through the group. "Who did you see?" they demanded, hearts racing, pulse hammering in their ears. "The kids. I saw them. They were just standing there and then they vanished." Dave was drenched in sweat, hands trembling. Their faces they didn't look like the Andersons. Confusion settled in like a heavy fog. Who were those children? What had happened to the ones they knew? As the group descended into debate, a chilling sound cut through the laugh of a child. An unmistakable sound that had once filled the houses of the quaint neighborhood, now twisted into an eerie echo, sending everyone's skin crawling. It felt both familiar and otherworldly. The laughter wasn't alone. Shadows began to shift among the trees, emerging from the dark with unnatural fluidity. Eyes, glinting like shards of glass, watched from the shadows. Fear strangled their breath as they stumbled backward, the urge to run battling their need for answers. "What's happening?" Lucy's voice broke the urgency. "What are we looking at?" But deep down, they all knew, to find the Andersons might uncover something that none of them were prepared for. And just as the moon slipped behind a cloud, the shadows surged forward, leading them into the tightly woven embrace of the forest, revealing secrets that had long wished to remain buried. What awaited them in the dark? A reckoning? A revelation? As terror gripped their hearts, they pressed deeper, wondering if they were seeking the Andersons or running headlong into a nightmare. What had they unleashed by ending their search? The shadows danced closer, an almost sentient dark, their movements fluid like smoke winding through the trees. Each glinting eye sent tremors through the group, hearts pounding louder than their frantic thoughts. "Stay together." Someone gasped, but the command felt feeble beneath the weight of the fear wrapping around them like a vice. Lucy took a shaky breath, her eyes darting towards the flicker of dim light that punctuated the darkness ahead. It was as if the forest itself was dissecting their courage, peeling away layers of bravery to lay bare their deepest, primal fears. "We have to keep moving," she whispered, yet each word felt like a challenge to the night itself. They pressed forward, an unsteady cluster of friends, splitting anxiety and bravery among them. Dave's expression was a tangled mess of disbelief and dread, his earlier claim hanging in the air. "What if they're not what we think they are?" he murmured, a chill echoing his thoughts. The laughter had sounded playful then, but now it clawed at them, creating a jagged edge of uncertainty. A rustle flew through the brush to their right. "Did you hear that?" someone whispered. Their flashlights swept the surroundings, revealing nothing but thick, dark trees, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal hands. It felt as if they weren't just searching for the Andersons but stepping into a trap crafted by forces unseen. "Maybe they left us a trail," Lucy proposed, trying to anchor them in hope. "If they want us to find them," but her voice faltered against the weight of the atmosphere, like drawing in breath only to be smothered by realization. Then, as if to counter her optimism, another laugh echoed, clearer, closer. It was not just the children now, other sounds merged with it, a murmur of voices in the wind, like echoes of memories long buried beneath the forest floor. "Look!" Dave pointed toward a distant flicker. Cautiously, the group edged forward, anticipation vibrating in the air. The light was weak, almost ghostly, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Yet, the forest held them tight, every step becoming harder as if the ground itself resented their presence. "Let's check it out," Lucy urged, desperation bleeding into her voice. "It might lead us to them." Against the tense backdrop of uncertainty, her words sparked a fire of determination. They navigated through the underbrush until the flicker grew brighter, revealing a clearing that in the center lay a large, ancient tree, roots twisted like serpents. Against its bark rested a small bundle, shadows huddled around it. A tension crackled in the air as the group stepped closer, hearts racing as the outline of two small figures emerged from the dark. "Maggie? Lucas?" Dave's voice trembled, the laughter resumed, and Lucy's mind raced. The figures tilted their heads, their movements disjointed, unsettling, almost mocking. The familiar faces of the children were obscured, their features blurred. "You shouldn't have come," one echoed, the voice straddling a line between childlike curiosity and something sinister. What do you mean?" Lucy breathed, each word a struggle as her chest tightened. "We are alive," they responded, "but you should have stayed away." Suddenly, the shadows thickened around them, pulling at the edges of their senses. The weight of the forest pressed down, and with each fleeting heartbeat, the urge to flee blended horrifyingly with a thirst for answers. Lucy gazed into the faces of her friends, hoping to find clarity, only to see fear mirrored back at her. What dawned upon them was an eerie understanding: they hadn't just come to find the Andersons, they had awakened something. And now, the forest wouldn't let them go so easily. Would they uncover the truth about the family, or had they stirred something sinister in their search? The shadows surged forward once more, and they realized, with dawning horror, this was just the beginning. Panic seized Lucy as the shadows lunged, curling around their ankles like sinister tendrils. "Run!" she yelled, instinct pushing her to grasp a friend's hand and pull them back. But their feet felt rooted, a terror anchoring them to the ground. The figures moved closer, their forms blurring in and out of the dim light like flickering candles in a gust of wind. "You shouldn't have come," they repeated, their voices now a chorus that spilled forth as multiple versions of Maggie and Lucas emerged. Each face twisted into a grin that was both familiar and grotesque. A chill slithered down Lucy's spine. "Let us go. Now!" Dave shouted, desperately tugging at Lucy's arm. But the weight of something unseen held her in place, like an invisible chain binding them to the spot. The laughter grew louder, wrapping around them, drowning out their frantic thoughts. "Please, just tell us where your parents are," one of the other friends cried, desperation punctuating the words. The childlike figures halted, still grinning, eyes glinting with malice. "They are with us," one of them said, tilting its head, the motion stilted, as if rehearsed. "You'll join soon." A terrible realization washed over Lucy. This was not just a game of hide and seek. The shadows and the children were the guardians of something dark, a warning and a siren all at once. They had crossed a line they didn't understand, but now they would pay the price. "Back. We need to back up." Lucy forced the words out, and finally, the spell broke, a surge of adrenaline breaking through the paralysis. They stumbled backward, flashlights shaking, illuminating the trees that seemed to lean closer. Suddenly, a deep howl echoed through the woods, a bone-chilling sound that sent shivers racing through them. What was that? Tara whined, her voice strained. "I don't care. Just run." Lucy's heart thudded as they turned, the spectral laughter following them, merging with the howl, creating a haunting symphony that urged them onward. They barreled through the brush, desperate steps leading them back the way they came. The forest felt alive, steeped in shadows that reached out like grasping hands. Every crack of a twig, every whisper of the leaves seemed to mock their flight. "Where are the paths?" Dave gasped, swinging his flashlight wildly. Her heart sank as Lucy realized it was no longer clear. The trees branched out like labyrinth walls, closing in on them. A flash of silver caught her eye, and she swung her light towards it, just in time to see a figure tall and still against the trunk of a tree, a tall figure with familiar features distorted and pale like a ghost's. "Mom," she whispered, unsure if it was a mirage or reality, the shadows playing tricks on her mind, but the moment flickered with uncertainty. The figure smiled, but it held none of the comfort a mother's smile should. "Lucy," it beckoned, a velvet voice slithering into her ears, weaving itself into her thoughts. "No." Lucy screamed, panic clawing its way up from her gut, but something in her chest needed to know. Was it really her mother? Or was it another trap laid by the shadows? The other voices echoed around her, blending with the flickering laughter. "Lucy, come home." The shadows pulled at her, whispering of childhood, laughter, and long-forgotten memories. A terrifying choice loomed. Stay and face the dark horror of the familiar, or flee into the unforgiving unknown. The fleeting flicker of hope dangled before her. Could they still escape? Or was this the end of their search for the Andersons? Then, a scream shattered the spell, slicing through the chaos. One of their friends, a blur in the dark, was snatched by the shadows, pulled into the embrace of the forest's wicked grip. "Run!" Lucy screamed again, the weight of hope and despair crashing over her. As they raced deeper into the woods, she wondered what remnants of truth would remain if anyone could ever find them again, and just as a tree root pulled taut from the ground threatened to trip them, Lucy caught sight of something deeper within the shadows, a hint of a gateway appearing, a door ajar to something even darker. Was this escape? Or a new lure? What awaited them beyond that threshold felt like the pulsing heart of a dark storm, an unknown that could either seal their fates or offer a dangerous opportunity for salvation. Adrenaline surged through Lucy as they neared the flickering gateway, the air thick with an electrifying tension that made her skin crawl. The shadows danced around her, whispering in a delirious rhythm of forgotten dreams and dark memories. Each footfall felt heavier, as if the very ground was begging her to turn back. "Do you see that?" Tara cried, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and delirium. Her voice trembled, barely rising above the sinister whispers. "It looks like a door." "Keep running," Dave shouted, desperation painting his voice. He yanked them forward, but Lucy's gaze remained fixed on the glimmering darkness. The door beckoned, a magnetic pull that almost drowned out the chaos swirling around them. For a heartbeat, it seemed to pulsate, a heartbeat that resonated within her. She was caught between the horror of the shadows and the lure of the impossible. Questions darted through her mind like startled birds. What lay on the other side? What if it was the solution, or worse, a trap crafted by the very forces they were trying to escape? Then another scream, sharper and more unhinged, echoed across the woods, clawing at her very soul. One of their friends, Mitchell, was dragged back into the shadows, clawing at the silken darkness that devoured him. The deep, echoing laughter swelled again, twisting into shrieks of pure terror that gripped their hearts. "Go, go, go!" Lucy shouted, pulling her friends away from the horror with all the strength she could muster. Her heart hammered in her chest as they barreled toward the door, but a heavy fog of despair hung over them, chilling the air. "Don't look back. Just keep running." With every step, Lucy felt the shadows swell and retreat, as if the very woods were alive, an animated force of darkness against their desperate flight. The door loomed larger, a gaping chasm that threatened to swallow them whole. She steeled herself against the gnawing fear. Whatever lay behind that entrance couldn't be worse than the abyss chasing them. As they reached the threshold, the door swung open, revealing an unfathomable blackness that seemed impossibly deep. A chilling breeze whipped around them, fueling the unease bubbling in her stomach. She could almost hear it whispering, promises swirling within the void. "Lucy! Are you nuts?" Dave shouted, but his voice was drowned out by the cacophony of haunted laughter that crescendoed around them. "We can't go in there. I want to let those shadows take us." Lucy cried back, her courage waning against the relentless grip of the dark. "I'd rather face whatever this is than stay out here." With that, she plunged into the darkness. The world shifted violently, light retreating and air thickening as the shadows closed in behind them. A sharp gasp burned in her throat, her friends barreling in right after her. The moment they crossed through, the door slammed shut behind them with a deafening thud. The sound echoed through the dark, leaving a silence so thick it almost stung. Lucy's heart raced as she swiveled around to see the door flickering like a dying flame, its once solid presence beginning to unravel before her eyes. "Where are we?" Tara's whisper shattered the stillness, reverberating in the pitch-black void. Before Lucy could respond, she heard it, a low growl vibrating through the air, a sound that was both menacing and otherworldly. Shadows crept closer, swirling like smoke around them, whispering secrets too sinister to comprehend. And somewhere in that nefarious darkness, a ghostly figure emerged, a gaunt, tall presence with hollow eyes and a knowing smirk, eerily familiar yet utterly alien. "Welcome, Lucy." We've been waiting. A surge of terror shot through her, freeing her mind from the fog. Who was this presence? And why were they waiting for her? As the shadows thickened around her, Lucy felt her heart sink. The forest was not done with them yet, it had merely transformed. And now, they were trapped, surrounded by the very horrors they had tried to escape. When the truth began to unravel, would there be a chance left for them to reclaim their lives? Or had they stepped into the ultimate nightmare? In the growing silence, one question loomed over them, heavy like the darkness closing in. What waiting horrors lurked in the shadows, and could they ever find their way back to the light? Lucy gasped, her breath hitching in her throat as the figure stepped closer. It moved with a fluid grace that belied its skeletal frame. Shadows draped from its long limbs, coiling in the air like tendrils eager to ensnare them. Tara clutched Lucy's arm tightly, nails digging into flesh, grounding Lucy in the suffocating terror encircling them. Who are you? Dave demanded, his voice cracking under the weight of fear. The figure's smile widened, revealing teeth that gleamed like polished knives. Your past is entwined with ours, it replied, voice smooth yet dripping with malice. You've driven through the shadows, and now, they've drawn you home. The words hung in the air like the damp, heavy mist, slithering through their minds, igniting fragments of memories they had long buried. Lucy's heart raced. What did it mean, driven through the shadows? The darkness began to pulse, alive and breathing. Whispers crescendoed around them, climbing in pitch as images flickered before Lucy's eyes. Flickering lights, laughter, and faces of those they had lost. Mitchell's agonized screams echoed particularly loudly, rooted in her subconscious now unleashed by the monstrous figure. Stop! Lucy shouted, backing away from the growing mass of shadows. But the figure advanced, relentless. Flee as you may, Lucy. These horrors know what you are. The shadow tightened around her, threading through her thoughts, tugging at every weakness. Only through understanding can you hope to survive. Don't listen to it. Tara screamed, shaking. It wants to break us. The air crackled, charged with their escalating dread. Suddenly, a drop of light pierced through the oppressive obscurity, revealing a series of ornate symbols swirling on the ground. They glowed faintly against the blackness, casting eerie reflections on the shadowy figure. What are those? Dave asked, stepping forward despite Tara's desperate grip. The moment he did, the figure recoiled as if burned, eyes narrowing, anger radiating like heat waves. Those are anchors, it hissed, voice a mere whisper now, laced with desperation. They bind us to this realm, to your fear. Lucy felt a pulse of recognition, a distant memory of their childhood folklore, of the shadows that lived in the woods, feeding on fear and despair. The symbols were the key, she realized, a way to fight back. Maybe we can break them. Lucy thought aloud, heart racing with a glimmer of hope. If we can understand what they mean, we can change this place. We can take away their power. As if in response to her defiance, the shadows surged closer, twisting and writhing in a frenzy of anger. Their smothering whispers turned into wild screams that clawed at their sanity, an assault on everything Lucy held dear. We're not afraid. Tara shouted, voice shaking but resolute, echoing the strength that surged through Lucy. In that moment, a fierce determination ignited in Lucy's chest. She stepped toward the glowing symbols, her pulse thrumming in sync with their light. Tell us. She commanded the figure, bravely challenging the dark force that had seeped into their lives. Your fear has fed us and now it will consume you, it spat, venom dripping from its words, but doubt flickered in those hollow eyes. Not if we stand together. Lucy yelled back, reaching for her friends. Their hands found each other, forming a fragile but strong chain against the encroaching darkness. The brightness of the symbols increased, illuminating the figure's angry facade. You choose to defy? Then witness the wrath of the shadows. As shadows lashed out, they formed shapes both grotesque and surreal around them. Lucy felt the waves of panic crash over her again, a voice whispering in her mind that the horror they faced was insurmountable, but in that moment, she looked at her friends Tara and Dave. All they had shared, all they had survived. And at the same time, something flickered within her, a primal instinct ignited by their unity. Now, she urged, her voice fierce as wave after wave of darkness surged, threatening to engulf them. What would happen next? The symbols flickered. Would they hold against the oncoming storm? Or was this unity only the prelude to darkness consuming them whole? As the shadows roared, Lucy knew they were on the precipice of a battle that could change everything. The truth awaited. Would they face it together, or fracture in the chaos? The door to their worst nightmares loomed just a heartbeat away. The shadows lunged, and Lucy braced herself. The surge of darkness collided with the fragile light of the symbols at their feet. It was like standing on the edge of the abyss, where fear was palpable, a thick mist choking her thoughts. "Hold on!" Dave shouted as the darkness coiled and snapped around them, trying to pull them apart. Each pulse of the shadows seemed to echo their worst memories. Lucy pressed her back against Tara, feeling her friend's trembling body, a reminder that they were still anchored together. As the shadows clawed at her, Lucy took a deep breath. Memories flooded back: laughter with Mitchell under the old oak tree, hidden secrets whispered beneath starlit skies, the haunting echo of a promise made years ago. "We'll always have each other, Lucy." Tara's voice broke through her reverie, panic wrapping around her words. "Focus. The symbols, they're fading." She glanced at the symbols, their glow dimming under the relentless assault of the shadows. "We have to understand them." With desperation, she felt for the familiar warmth of Tara's hand and Dave's beside her, their bond a shield against the terror threatening to tear them apart. "Are you with me?" she asked, her voice resolute. Tara and Dave nodded, determination flashing in their eyes. "Together." They echoed, and in that simple word, the strength of their unity surged. Lucy reached out, fingers brushing against the swirling designs. The symbols felt alive, pulsing like a heartbeat in her palm, connecting her to the very essence of their past. "Remember the stories?" Lucy shouted, trying to drown out the whispers that clawed at her sanity. "The shadows feed on fear. We need to reclaim our power." Images broke through the darkness, fragments like shards of glass that cut through the weight of despair. She saw their childhood faces, the innocence of their youth, drowning in laughter and adventure, before the horrors came. "What do we do?" Dave yelled as he struggled against a creeping shadow, its cold touch igniting a primal fear within him. "Our fear feeds them," Lucy repeated, grounding herself in that truth. "We have to face what we've lost. We need to forgive ourselves." Tara's eyes widened, realization washing over her. "The guilt, it's holding us back. We have to let it go." As understanding dawned, the symbols flared brighter, their light intermixing with the shadows, creating an eerie dance of energy. Lucy felt the shadows waver, shrieking in anger as they recoiled from the brightness. With hearts pounding, they lifted their heads, pushing back against the darkness. "Whatever happened, we forgive each other. We choose love over fear," Lucy shouted. The whispers morphed into shrieks, echoing around them. "You may fight, but this is not the end. Your past will consume you." The figure howled, desperation bleeding into its words, but Lucy didn't waver. In that moment, she was a beacon amidst the storm. She could feel her friend's belief rising alongside hers, a strength they had tapped into. The air crackled as the symbols began to rotate wildly, their light drowning out the shadows. "Together. On 3. 1. 2. Lucy counted. The shadows roared in fury, their tendrils curling around her legs, but she pressed forward, arms raised. 3. An explosion of light erupted, overwhelming the darkness as it recoiled. Lucy closed her eyes against the scorching brightness, trusting in her friends. When she opened them again, the shadows had dissolved into wisps of smoke, retreating into the corners of this twisted nightmare. The symbols pulsed brightly, casting a warm glow that wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. But as they stood there, panting, a lingering dread settled in. The figure had vanished, its silhouette fading into a whisper of wind, but an echo remained. Had they truly won? Was this reprieve merely a pause before the nightmare returned? Just then, Lucy noticed a shadow creeping back on the edges. A realization twisted in her gut. "We're not safe yet," she said, voice quaking, as the ground beneath them rumbled ominously. What if that wasn't the only darkness waiting for us? As a thick darkness swelled once more, looming ahead like a storm cloud ready to break, Lucy understood, their fight was far from over. The real threat was yet to come. The ground shook violently, tearing Lucy from her thoughts. The symbols flickered in response, their glow wavering beneath the mounting darkness, threatening to snuff them out entirely. An icy chill snaked up her spine, and dread seeped into her bones. "Stay together," Dave barked, his voice barely cutting through the growing cacophony. The shadows whipped around them like wild serpents, slashing at their ankles and reaching for their throats. Tara fumbled forebodingly for Lucy's hand, their fingers intertwining tightly. "What do we do, Lucy?" Tara cried. Her eyes were wide, reflecting the swirling darkness that pressed in around them. "We fight," Lucy shouted back, but even to her own ears, her words sounded thin, fragile like a spider's web. "We just have to face whatever's coming." The weight of uncertainty hung heavy in the air, a palpable force that slithered into Lucy's mind. Could they actually win? Could love really conquer the depths of their deepest fears? She squeezed Tara's hand, the warmth anchoring her. Then, it happened. From that thickening darkness, a figure emerged. Tall and looming, its features obscured, but its presence ignited a recognition deep in her gut. It was as if every nightmare they had ever faced coalesced into this one form, steel and shadow. "Did you think you could escape?" It hissed, voice like gravel rattling in a tomb. Lucy felt the breath hitch in her throat. "Who are you?" she demanded, forcing herself to stay steady. "I am the echoes of your past, the memories you buried, the guilt you refused to face." Each word struck harder than the last, the truth weaving through her, a serrated blade scraping against her scarred heart. "No. We defeated you." She spat, though doubt gnawed at a corner of her mind. "Your victory was merely a trick of light. I am reborn from your fears, stronger, ravenous." The figure thrust its arm forward, and suddenly the air thickened with a suffocating sense of loss. Memories, vivid yet painful, erupted around them like a violent storm. Laughter from days long past twisted into cries of despair, friends lost, promises broken. Tara stumbled back, eyes wide with alarm as she was pulled into the memories, a time when her brother went missing. I can't do this again." But Lucy turned. She could feel the weight of their past pressing down like a heavy blanket. "You have to fight it, Tara. We have to face these memories. Let them go." As the past swirled around them, Lucy could see it, the joy, the pain, and like a beacon, she felt her friends anchoring her. "Forgiveness, remember?" she urged, feeling her voice grow stronger. "It's time, Tara. Let it go. Please." Dave added, forcing courage into the pleading plea. "Reclaim what it stole." The shadows shrieked, sensing the shift, thrashing angrily. But Lucy stood tall. "We won't be chained anymore. We will forgive. We will choose hope." The symbols pulsed again, the light fighting angrily against the wave of despair. The shadows recoiled, momentarily disrupted, revealing a bright crack in the darkness, a portal to another realm. A fleeting glimpse of an ethereal light shining through the chaos. "Now. Together." Lucy grounded herself, pulling her friends back into the moment. "On 3. 1, 2, 3. They shouted in unison, arms raised defiantly, ready to reclaim their power. The wave of light surged forth, colliding with the darkness. Just as it seemed they were about to break free, a chilling sound echoed, an ominous voice slithering through the shadows. you cannot escape your truth. I will always be waiting. The figures faltered, uncertainty flickering in their eyes as fear pulsed around them, wrapping like a vine. Lucy, what was that? Tara trembled, clutching tightly to her. Lucy could feel the sweat pooling on her brow, an unease washing over. I don't know, she whispered, heart racing. Would they truly be free, or had they just awakened something far worse? In that moment, everything shifted again, the atmosphere electric, as the reality of their situation crashed back down. The real darkness had just begun to stir what waited in those endless shadows. And as another rumble echoed through the ground, Lucy could only wonder if they were brave enough to face it. The air crackled with tension as the darkness shifted, swirling greedily around them. It felt alive, as if hungry for their fear, each gust of wind a chilling caress that sent shivers down Lucy's spine. She stood at the forefront, her heart pounding like war drums against her ribcage, each pulse a reminder of what was at stake. The shadows writhed, cloaking the area in an almost sentient gloom. Focus on the light. Lucy yelled, eyes darting toward that sliver of hope they had made. It pulsed, flickered, and seemed to breathe, but every moment the shadows came closer, eager to snuff it out. The enigmatic figure loomed larger, its features still obscured. You think you can find salvation in light? You're fools. You are bound to me. Your struggles only feed my power. Tara gasped, fingers trembling, squeezing Lucy's hand as if it were a lifeline. I can't face this again, please. We can't give in. Lucy shouted back, desperation clawing at her throat. Remember what we've fought for each other. A sudden howl pierced the air, a cacophony of all the regrets and pains they had endured. The noise merged into a chant of their failures, haunting them, pulling at the very fabric of their resolve. Lucy could see the fear in Tara's eyes, a fear that mirrored her own. No. We have something they don't. Hope. The shadows quivered, as if uncertain of how to respond to this flicker of determination. Hope. The figure jeered, laughter echoing through the chaos, reverberating like thunder. Hope is a fragile thing, easily shattered. Not if we stand strong. Dave shouted, finally stepping up beside Lucy, his defiant stance grounding her. We've made it this far. We're not going back. Lucy could feel a tremor of strength ripple through their linked hands. On three. Let us push back. Together. Tara cried, channeling her fear into resolve. 1, 2. An otherworldly growl rose beneath them, vibrating up through the ground, a warning that chilled the air. 3. They yelled, arms shooting forward. Light burst forth, hurtling against the encroaching darkness. For a moment, hope illuminated the shadows, pushing them back, forcing them to recoil. A path opened wider, revealing whispers of forgotten promise. But as the shadows waned, so did the clarity of their sanctuary, the echoes of darkness firing up again like matches struck to dry straw. You cannot escape your truth, the voice hissed again, deeper this time, as if it had multiplied each word a dagger. Shadows slithered back, assaults ushered on waves of fear and self-doubt. Lucy felt it, the doubt creeping in alongside her emotions. Each scream from the depths of the void gnawed away at her determination. We have to remember. Lucy urged. We've faced losing everyone we love and we still stood. Remember who we are. Tara shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. A flicker of resolve ignited in her eyes. An explosion of sound interrupted them, the walls of darkness emitting a deafening roar as figures swarmed in from the edges, the remnants of their memories and fears made manifest. Look! Dave shouted, pointing as they stumbled into their own nightmares, faces of loved ones lost, moments of betrayal, the crushing weight of grief. The emotional tempest crashed over them, waves upon waves of despair crashing into their minds. Each face twisted in agony, pulling each of them back into a haunting reality. No, we can't. Tara cried out, collapsing to her knees, overwhelmed. As Lucy caught her breath, determination surged. We have to push through. We can't let them win. Just then, the growth of shadows peaked, and from the center, a figure stepped forward, its face now distorted, familiar yet grotesque. "You thought you could deny me forever." With a sense of urgency, Lucy realized that their very essence was being found, their souls laid bare beneath this creeping darkness. Panic tightened around her chest. "Can we endure this?" she whispered. The battle had just begun. The real test of heart, strength, and spirit awaited them. What horrors lurked in the broken fragments of their past? And as the abyss stared back, the shadows laughed, a chorus of despair echoing in their ears. Did they have what it took to confront the reality that had bound them? Or would they remain forever lost in the dark? The shadows surged, a roiling mass that threatened to swallow them whole. Lucy's heart raced. She felt the presence of everything they feared pressing down from above, each dark whisper echoing their past failures, feeding into the dread creeping through her veins. Panic fluttered in her chest like a caged bird, desperate to flee. Yet, with every ounce of her strength, Lucy fought back. "Focus on the light," she shouted, her voice cutting through the thick despair that enshrouded them. "We came here to reclaim our truth. To choose hope." Tara and Dave tightened their grip on her fingers. Sharing fear and courage, they formed a human chain against the looming darkness. The oppressive weight of memory bore down upon them, but Lucy could see the faint glow of the symbols twinkling, stubbornly refusing to dim. "Together," Lucy urged. "We can break through. Face the shadows. Confront the pain, forgive." Tara's voice surged with uncharacteristic fervor, drowning out the echoes of their fears. They stepped forward, dispelling the creeping darkness with the shared strength of their connection, illuminating the pathway of symbols beneath their feet. 1, 2, 3. With all of their might, they thrust their arms forward. Brilliant light erupted, an explosion of connection and energy that shattered the murky gloom, sending the shadows recoiling with ferocity, screaming in their desolation. In that fearless moment, Lucy felt the warmth of their bonds fortifying them, lifting the weight of despair, yet, the chaos was not finished. Tendrils of shadow lunged, aiming to undermine their newfound strength. "You cannot escape your truth," the echoing voice roared, reverberating through the darkness. "You are bound to your pain. Your struggle only strengthens my power." But Lucy pushed through the storm of dread, visualizing every joyful moment, every loved one they had lost. She couldn't help but reach for the light in their memories, the laughter shared, the love they once felt. Each flickering thought pierced the shadowed realm, a dagger of hope. "Look!" she shouted, as an ethereal glimmer appeared. The light guided them, inviting them to remember. Remember who we are. The love we hold. The moments we fought for. Your past has shaped us, but it will not define us. Tara struck back, the strength in her voice igniting a spark of defiance within the darkness, and with that, the ground trembled. Layers of memories unfurled around them, a kaleidoscope of laughter, sorrow, understanding. Each flickering image felt solid, like anchors against the tempest they faced. The shadows thrashed around them, wild and chaotic, but Lucy could see cracks forming in their very foundation. "Now," Lucy breathed, heart racing. "Let us finish this." Together, they plunged toward the remains of the darkness, and just as the shadows clawed for their throats, they burst forward with all their might. Light erupted from the symbols, the collective warmth pushing against the grasp, blazing through the dark like the dawn breaking on the horizon, but just as they thought they might escape, a sudden chill swept through the forest, clinging to their skin. A deep, tremorous voice echoed around them. "Even if you succeed, love won't shield you from consequences." "No," Lucy roared against the swirling wind. "Our love is our strength. We choose to fight with hope." With a shout, brighter than they had ever believed possible, Lucy and her friends threw back the last remnants of darkness, casting the whispers of grief into oblivion. Light streamed through the engulfing shadows, illuminating the woods with warmth. For a brief moment, it felt as if the forest sighed with relief, as if releasing long-buried anguish. The figures seemed to dissipate, fading into the dawnlight. Hope took root in the clearing, sprawling outward like wildflowers in spring. As Lucy blinked against the light, her heart swelled with gratitude. "We did it," she whispered, emotion spilling over, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. "We're free," Tara echoed, relief flowing through her, but as the three friends stood in the renewed light, they knew this was merely the beginning. Together, they would navigate the scars of their past, building a future defined not by fear but by love, a love they would fiercely protect and keep alive, and as they exited the forest, hand in hand, bright sunlight spilled onto the path before them. No shadows loomed, just a new horizon, alive with possibility and clarity. The tendrils of the past might still whisper, but they would face those memories together, with courage embedded in their souls. Lucy gazed into the distance, breathing deep, feeling the weight of the journey lift. Her heart raced with the knowledge that they had emerged not merely intact but reborn, ready to embrace life's next chapter. "Let us go home," Lucy said, her voice steady. As they turned toward the road, that small part of her remained vigilant. If the darkness came again, they would stand strong as one, facing whatever lay ahead, unafraid. Together, she affirmed, and they took their first steps into the sunlight, knowing now that they would never walk alone. Don't miss out on our next exclusive stories that will surely grip your heart. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss a moment of this thrilling journey. Smash the like button now, it truly helps the algorithm reach more amazing fans like you. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories. Let's connect. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this breathtaking conclusion. Your support is vital. You need to show it now.